Whole Story Quest Audio presents an unabridged recording of Raising a Gangster by Kerry Barnes, narrated by Annie Aldington. Part 1. Chapter 1. South London, 1958. It was pitch black outside by the time Peggy Reardon sat down with her cup of tea. A draught blew in through the small cracks in the window of the main room. She shuddered and stared into nothing. There was no point in feeling any self-pity. Besides, no doubt most of the neighbours in the street were all in the same predicament. Piss poor and living in a run-down row of two up, two down terraced houses. Bleak was the best way to describe it. She sighed to herself. At least she had her boys and her health. She peered down at her threadbare carpet slippers and wondered why on earth they were called carpet slippers. She didn't have any carpet, not even fancy lino, just clean floorboards and a bit of an old rug. She shook her head at the last of the coal glowing in the grate. Then her eyes scanned the empty mantelpiece. It once showed off a few bits of china passed down by her mother, Annie. But now the shelf was empty. Not that she'd been very close to her mother, for no other reason than they'd not been alike at all. Annie was quiet, sickly, and hard work at times, always taking to her bed. However, she'd been very close to her father, Dylan, and having to sell his pocket watch had hurt her so much. Even now the thought made her feel as though her insides were ripped in half. She and her husband had sold everything of any value down at Camden Market before Reginald left and headed back to Ireland. She'd hung on to his promise that he would find work and come back for her and the kids. But then the weeks had grown into months, with not even a letter from him. Many local men had found it hard when the docks closed. Until the 1920s, Bermondsey had thrived. The docks secured enough work for the families to scrape by, but now everything had gone, along with the odd little treat, a bottle of Mother's Ruin or a packet of tobacco. Really, she knew in her heart that Reginald hadn't gone back to Ireland to find work. He'd buggered off to escape their life of poverty, so he could start afresh elsewhere. She couldn't, though. Now aged 28, she'd been left with his debts and 2 kiddies to bring up. She sighed heavily again. What was she going to do now? The old codger at Hartley's jam factory had fired her. The dirty old bastard had thought he could get his way. He assumed she needed her job enough to let him cop a feel. He was right, in so much as she needed that job, but she valued her pride more.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?